Raila can spring a surprise. And that's how people like Sifuna can come in. Yeah.
To take the baton of leadership?
They can tell people. Sisi wazee tunaondoka. Nimewapatia wiki jana. Do you get what I'm saying?
It was dead on arrival.
So if you give Oparanya, who is in his 60s today, I love Kalonzo achukue 2027. By the time Kalonzo is leaving, how old will Oparanya be? That is to lie to the Luyas. And if the Luyas follow that path, then they are the most stupid people.
And you're just in time for Richard Mwenja Exclusive, your only point of call on matters, politics and governance here on Herman Manyora's channel. It's always a pleasure and a distinct privilege to have you on board. My name is Richard Mwenja. Always a pleasure to have you on board. Now to dissect into the day's conversation is none other than Kenya's most sought after political analyst, the first of his name, son of Mama Niria Itago, Herman Manyora. How are you, sir?
Fine.
You are quite well?
Very well, thank God.
Very good. So let's go straight to the day's conversation. And we are looking at the future of ODM should Raila Odinga in the likely event transition to the AUC position. And so much has come from that conversation. And let's begin from a general perspective. Is it likely the possible outcome for the center to hold should Raila Odinga exit the scene and transit to AU, particularly for ODM?
You know, it's a tricky question. It's a difficult question because in this country, parties are individual properties. So you talk of UDA, and when you move Ruto from the equation, there's no UDA.
There's no UDA.
Raila is ODM. Kalonzo is Wiper. It is sad, but that's the reality. I'm yet to see a party that lives beyond the main person. So that even PNU and NAC associated with the Kibaki, and after he left. So it is sad. But I hope the game will be played different this time because ODM is a big party. It is part of, ODM is contributing to the democracy in this country in a very big way. It will be sad for such a party to disintegrate just because Raila has left. So I hope Raila is aware of that and he has put measures in place to ensure there is a continuity after he leaves.
Seamless transition.
Yes, your transition.
There are several personalities within ODM who believe they are the right heirs apparent to the throne, namely Wycliffe Oparanya, former governor from Mombasa, Hassan Joho, and also Embakasi East Member of Parliament, Babu Owino. But it begs the question, do you think time is right for us to have that conversation of who should take over should Raila Odinga exit the scene and join AU?
I don't think it's unnecessary. Is that in the conversation to me is not necessary. Power is never given. So even if we discuss in this room, let's give it to Oparanya. Our discussion here will not give it to him. Let's assume there's a boardroom discussion. You say Joe. And it doesn't have what it takes to lead ODM. It's a waste of time. So this is about power. And power, you do not discuss it in a boardroom.
Very well.
There are very rare circumstances. But circumstances such as the ones we find ourselves in, ODM, if Raila is leaving in a major way, you call it transition to OAU. ODM is a party that cannot just be led by anybody because people have selected him some room or on this shop. ODM is a big party, the only party that transcends the whole country. UDA, of course, is now almost the same level, but it is still starting, so we don't know how far it will go. And therefore, for an individual to lead this party, they must have what it takes. And they must prove it. So I would rather we left it for the people who think they have the power to take it. However, there must be a rider.
Which is?
Which is the people of Nyanza, especially Luo Nyanza, must guard against reducing ODM to a Luo party. There's always that danger. Because they have the numbers, they can then do what happened to Ford Kenya.
It could crumble down.
Yeah, it just remains a small village party. To go beyond the region is not a small matter. Even as Uhuru and the Jubilee were actually in power for 10 years, They never went beyond Rift Valley and Mount Kenya. They never. They were not in Western. They were not at the coast. They were not anywhere in any significant way. They could give an MP here, an MCA there, a governor there, but they were never there. At the end of the elections of 2022, you saw clearly the map of Kenya was blue. It was Azimio. So that is something ODM must guard against.
Very well.
There is the danger that because they have the numbers in the party, they could reduce this powerful national party that is contributing to democracy into a Luo party. My advice would be for our brothers and sisters from Luo Nyanza to protect this party. Then no better way of protecting it than for them to stay out of the race for the top leadership of the party.
Very well.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you've actually credited Azimio Chief Raila Odinga with an organic following. Yes. And among the three personalities who believe they are the best candidates to take over as the leader of ODM, you have oftentimes also declared Babu Owino to enjoy that sort of organic following compared to Oparanya and Joho. Do you still hold that thought?
Babu Owino resonated with people, especially the young people. There's no doubt about it. But this should be, to try to take over ODM would be a wrong move, if you ask me. Babu can do anything big, including wanting to be governor. There will be nothing wrong with that. But to try and take ODM, even if he has what it takes, because the Luos are the majority, they will be killing ODM. That's my advice to them. Free advice. Let the Luyas and other people and Joho fight for ODM leadership.
The question now actually which is resonating in the minds of many is, where does all this conversation leave ODM SG Edwin Sifuna? Many people have credited him to be the powerhouse think tank and also the defender at the gate when it comes to ODM and Azimio at large. Do you think Sifuna is contented to an extreme, or is that he doesn't want to exaggerate his abilities out of illusion? You know, when you look at Sifuna and you are tying in with ODM, the picture will be incomplete until you introduce national leadership. Is that high?
In other words, what is Azimio thinking on 2027? Do they want to field an individual? Because their hands seem tied. If you are looking at the obvious people on the table, the ones we know, their fate is tied with Kalonzo Musyoka. Because not to give Kalonzo Musyoka will be seen as the highest betrayal. So, I want to address it in two ways. Number one, if that be the case, then Azimio has to support Kalonzo Musyoka. The question of running mate then comes in. And the most likely place is Western Kenya. So now, do you give it to Oparanya?
Maybe he's not the sharpest knife in the cutlet.
Because ODM cannot be left out of this game. If Wiper, Kalonzo has been given, ODM cannot settle for anything other than running mate. And the most likely quarter is Western, the surest bet. Because if you leave Western open, Ruto will take all of it in the absence of Raila. So you need somebody from there. Now the question comes, is it Oparanya? My considered opinion again is no. My considered advice to ODM and the Luya people who will be fronting one of their own is get somebody who is sustainable. Somebody who has a future. We are all human beings. When Wamola Kijana died, Kibaki gave us Mudavadi. Mudavadi was terminal. He was going nowhere. You get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying?
It was dead on arrival.
So if you give Oparanya, who is in his 60s today, I love Kalonzo at 2027. By the time Kalonzo is leaving, how old will Oparanya be? That is to lie to the Luyas. And if the Luyas follow that path, then they are the most stupid people. And that's how Sifuna now comes in. That if Azimio is fronting Kalonzo Musyoka, and naturally a Luya will be the deputy, that Luya has to be Sifuna. He's youthful enough, intelligent, combative, and everything about. He has what it takes, even to be president today. And therefore, if he deputizes Kalonzo Musyoka, you are growing a future president. And the Luya have hope. But if you get none of these hedgements of mine to deputize Kalonzo. By the time Kalonzo is leaving, first of all, we still have 4 years or so to go to 2027. These guys will be almost hitting 70. Then Kalonzo does, even if he does only 5. The guys will be too old to run for the world in 10 years from now, which is your world. People of my age will have no business in that world. They will be nothing in everywhere, apart from captains of industry, big corporations that require guidance from mature people to hold the people's billions of. But in terms of this normal leadership, it will be very crazy for someone like me even to offer myself for a seat. I want to be MP, I want to be governor, I want to be. So the world is changing, and therefore Sifuna, to me, is the person ODM should be thinking of if they are supporting Kalonzo. Now, Sifuna, I said about national leadership.
True.
But Raila Odinga is a political animal. He knows if he's not running, he may think Kalonzo will be no match to William Ruto. And therefore, Raila can spring a surprise.
And come back?
No. Yes, he can come back. But we are working with the assumption that he's not coming back.
All right.
I know he can come back.
Sure.
But now, in this discussion, we started off with the assumption
that he's not there.
He's not there, and he's not going to be in AU and then retire and go home. Live long, many years. He has worked well for this country. Raila can spring a surprise. And that's how people like Sifuna can come in. Yeah.
To take the baton of leadership?
They can tell people. Sisi wazee tunaondoka. Nimewapatia wiki jana.
Won't it fail like Moi did with Uhuru Kenyatta in 2002?
But Uhuru was not Sifuna. Uhuru was still green. He was a rookie politician. He was just beginning.
A political greenhorn by then?
Yeah. He wasn't quite where Sifuna is. Sifuna is compact. He's ready for anything. So I'm saying not Sifuna. I'm saying people of that caliber.
All right.
So that's how then you can view ODM, Sifuna, Oparanya, Joho.
You are a seasoned political strategist, and this far, another conversation has actually come for that of Coastal Region feels Raila owes them a debt that is now overdue. That is, to take someone from the region, Joho Abdul Swamad Nasir, now to take over from ODM leadership. Do you think it is true now that also quarters like Nyanza has always been true to Raila Odinga? Should it go the coastal way or the Nyanza way?
Joho, in my view, had a head start. The day Mudavadi failed to turn up for the Raila swearing in on the 30th of January, the year 2018, he created room for Joho. And I said it open. Joho was obvious the automatic ticket until he allowed himself to be smeared in mud in the 2027 election, 2022 election. People had doubts about his conduct. As if to make people confirm, he went underground. Where people were fighting this Mandamano and other things, he was nowhere to be seen. Then, he has come up because there's a vacancy. That doesn't augur very well for Joho. It doesn't augur very well for him. He has, that image people had of him, he has diminished his own star. But if you go the normal way of a contest and you put Oparanya against Joho, Joho will have Oparanya for breakfast.
Early in the morning?
Early in the morning, Joho atakuwa amekula Oparanya kama breakfast. It's not much to Joho because Joho is a crowd puller. He has resources. And I don't know whether he uses, but he has resources. People like Oparanya don't have as much.
The place of money in Kenyan politics.
Of course you can't doubt. And then people like Oparanya are a little pale. They're a little pale. They rarely spend even the little they have. I don't know about Joe. I know he has money. Whether he spends, I don't know, but I know Oparanya doesn't spend. And he doesn't have a lot. But you need to also show that you are there as a politician to send signals. When you are where men are seated, say, kula moja, kunya chai, you ugali mina lipa. That's Kenyan politics. I grew up in a political family. I grew up with people who are administrators, and I know what leadership is.
So perhaps he needs also to have friends who can oil his campaign, say, go to SG Atwoli, who is from his region. Those
kind of people, yes. But you know, it's not enough to have money. are you a person who can spend money? You see, there are people like Oparanya, I don't know about Joe, who think they can be like Uhuru Kenyatta or Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga does not need to spend money. People just follow Raila.
Without handouts?
Yeah, even if Raila goes to a hotel, even if he wanted to pay, nobody will allow him to pay. People just pay. So you are not Raila. And therefore you must learn to mobilize the resources and spend the same. I'm not talking about buying people. No, I'm just saying about being viable and you are visible. Uhuru did not have to spend his money. There were rich Kikuyus financing Kibaki. Kibaki never used to spend money. Kibaki was a very mean guy. God rest his soul. A very good gentleman, but very mean. Hata Wakikuyu walikuwa wanamuita sijui kangumu ama something like that. They never used to spend mkono birika. But there were people ready to finance his campaign and do everything that is required to make him president and sustain the presidency. Same with Uhuru Kenyatta. So if you are not Uhuru Kenyatta, you are not Mwai Kibaki, and you think you can be, that is the problem with people like Mudavadi, people like Oparanya. I don't know about Joe because I'm not, I know him from up there. He's a flamboyant, firebrand, crowd puller. I also know he has money, big money. Anasema ana kitita. Kitita. Mwenyezi Mungu amempatia kitita chake, ana pasha yake. So that is Joho is there. The costs are justified. They have stood with Raila for a long, long time. They have suffered for it, and they are justified to. So I will have no problem with the Joho. But again, when you talk of who should be the party leader, you must also know who is he going to work with. You know, you cannot have Sifuna and Joho working. Because they are almost, they will repel. You see, Raila, Sifuna is a firebrand, as Secretary General. But he can't go overboard because he's working with Raila, under Raila. But under Joe, Sifuna will shoot up. So you must be prepared for those kind of challenges.
Rightly put there. And now crossing over to Luo Nyanza, which oftentimes has been seen as the political backbone of ODM, and a number of firebrands have arose from the region, namely ICT CS Eliud Owalo and also Interior CS Raymond Omolo, PS I should say. And this far they have been deemed to be the giants that Raila Odinga and ODM need to slay should they want to still enjoy that background, that political vote bastion. Let me tell you. I should say, let me ask you, do you think that is a giant that they need to slay and tame this early, CS Owalo and Raymond Omolo?
Well, if they are giants, then my knowledge of English is a little...
I'm
linguistically challenged. Giant in reference to Owalo and
Raymond
my
Omolo.
friend Omolo, my son, within the context of Luo Nyanza. That can only become, that word can only be used by somebody who doesn't understand English.
They are already penetrating the region, development tours.
These are very good people. Owalo is my friend. He's a very good person. Raymond is a rising star. He's a wonderful chap. But within the context of Luo politics, so long as you are seen as operating in the opposite direction, which people choose to call betrayal, you will never go anywhere. And I've tried to explain this thing. I've explained this thing. I've said, you must understand the Luo from an historical perspective. The Luo have been the most betrayed since independence. The Luo have been the most persecuted. They have lost their sons, prominent sons, through assassinations, political assassinations. No other community has gone in that direction. Luo have lost jobs and promotion just because they are Luos. An example is case in point is Barack Obama's father, who was a top economist, but could not go far because he was a Luo. And there are even Luos I know myself personally. The Luos have paid the ultimate price. The Luos have stood in defense of democracy and everything that's good for this country. Even when they have been protecting Kikuyus to get land, like Jaramogi. Luos had not lost any land. Jaramogi fell out with Kenyatta in matters of land when Jaramogi was asking. People fought for land. How can we, the rich, take all the land and the people remain squatters? They were not Luos. Jaramogi was talking about Kikuyus, right? So they are paid for it. So anytime they see one of their own standing the other side, it really pains them. So I keep telling these people, you're wasting your time.
Talking of which,
it does not matter how good you are. So long as the Luo perceive you as a betrayer, you will never make an impact in the Luo nation. Never.
Are you then saying there's need for CS Owalo in the
they are wasting that
and
time.
PS Omolo to borrow leave?
They can't go anywhere.
To borrow leave from the then powerful Hezekiah Oyugi and what became of him in the fullness of time.
You can't go anywhere. You can't.
They can't be total men?
No, you cannot. You cannot. Not with the Luo. In another community, yes. If Raymond Molo was a Luya, it's a rising star. Owalo is a serious person, but within the context of Luo politics, the Luo community will not have breakfast on the same table with a traitor.
Very well.
You know, there are dynamics in politics.
Sure.
You can be brought back on board, you can sit with Raila and what. And once people see you with Raila, then they tick, you are a good boy, come back home. But even then, they will never trust you. Never. They can give you a seat, parliamentary seat, but community leadership, anybody who stands against the Luos, he always reminds them the pain they have gone through. And it is true, the Luo have undergone a lot of pain and suffering in this country. So if they associate you with that pain and suffering, my friend, you are lying to yourself. You cannot be their leader. It's not possible.
In a minute, your nuggets of wisdom now to ODM, now that they are yet to resolve the issue and the conversation about taking over from Raila Odinga, what would it be?
My advice is simple. I've already said it. ODM is a national party. It is contributing to democracy. You can imagine the state of democracy in this country if ODM disintegrated. It will be sad for this country. Therefore, ODM must be maintained at all costs. There are many things that you need to do to make sure ODM remains a force, including who becomes the party leader after Raila and so on and so forth. But in all that, the Luo must know they have the responsibility, more than anybody else, to ensure ODM remains a party, as even a legacy to Raila Odinga. And this is not the time for the Luo to try and struggle for the leadership of the party. Otherwise, they will reduce it to a Luo party. Raila is powerful and has been powerful in this country, not because he has Luos behind him, because he has the entire country behind him. You get it? If the Luo want to get ODM, they will have it. But where will it take them? The Luo votes are not enough. How many people? Last election, 1.4 million. Where will 1.4 million votes take you? Raila gets 6, 7, 8 million because Kenyans from across the country vote for him. They better leave Raila's ODM intact. Let it remain strong. Let it help sustain democracy in this country. Let them look for other things. Let Kina Joho, Kina Oparanya, and whoever else wants go for the top leadership of ODM. For now, I would urge Babu Owino and the rest, Opio and I, my friend, I will urge you, if you want to reduce ODM to a Luo party, contest against Joho, Oparanya and the rest. You will take it because you have the numbers. But where will it take you?
It will be digging your own grave.
It's a waste of time.
Well, there you have it from the firebrand himself, Herman Manyora, imploring Orange Democratic Movement to make strides so that they keep the Tower of Babel together so that it doesn't crumble down and so that they enjoy a formidable legacy with or without Raila Odinga in place. That has been our conversation today, talking matters the future of ODM and Azimio at large. I'm yours truly, Richard Mwenja. Always a pleasure to have you on board. Keep glued to this particular channel and we wait to see you on the next edition. Have a good day.